Well, happy Friday. Welcome to the workshop. I wanted to take a moment and discuss what I'm going to start calling Fine Furniture Friday. And basically that is what makes fine furniture. What distinguishes normal furniture, maybe store-bought or something slapped together, from fine furniture. And today I'm working on this waterfall console, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk about how we use grain in fine furniture and how we can join those boards together, paying attention to the grain to end up with wider panels for our furniture that accommodate the size of the piece and also make it look really nice and homogeneous from one board to the next. So what I have here are two boards which actually came from one long board, and this is going to be the side or the side leg of this console that I'm making. And when I need a wider piece, wider than the boards I have are available, we have to do what's called edge gluing or laminating the piece to achieve our width. And one important thing to consider anytime you're edge gluing these two pieces is, what does the grain look like? So if you look here, I intentionally chose to orient the piece this way for two reasons. A, there's a nice darker pink stripe that's running on this board over here all the way down. And that same pink stripe appears in this board running most of the way down. And luckily, most of the grain in this particular species is nice and linear, so I don't have to worry too much about the grain coming together in a way that really draws your eye to it. All of the pattern is pretty linear out here on the edge anyway. But I did want to match up those two colors, especially if you're not going to be staining the piece and adding additional color to it. Having that grain match up that way is important. So the second reason I oriented the pieces this way is the grain running through the end of the piece. So when we're gluing together wide panels like this, one thing to consider is seasonal wood movement and how these pieces might try to bow and cup throughout their lifetime. So if they were both kind of matched to one another like this, the piece is going to want to cup in the same way on both pieces, and you'll get a larger cup. Even though all of this is kiln dried, there's definitely going to be changes in humidity in your home, and there's going to be some amount of movement, and we want to minimize that as much as possible. So what I've done is chosen the grain to go this way, or the growth rings to be going convex upward this way and concave down on the opposite. That way any type of movement that happens here is going to be cut in half, okay, in terms of its cupping. So if it cups up on this side, it's going to cup a little bit down on that side, and overall it's going to stay much flatter by doing it this way. And now finally, from a craftsmanship standpoint, it is up to me to be sure that I join these pieces together such that the seam is not visible. So the seam can be visible from the grain pattern, grain converging in a way that doesn't look consistent. We've discussed that. But the other thing that can draw your eye to a seam is the fact that the seam isn't very good. So if I have gaps in my seam, then the final piece, you're going to still see those gaps. But the more that I can do to get this seam to come together flawlessly, then A, the stronger the glue bond is going to be. So we have a piece that's less likely to crack over its lifetime. And then visually, it looks much nicer. And I think things like this is what really starts to set normal furniture apart from fine furniture. Is slowing down and paying attention to all of these little details, so you end up with a component that plays well nicely visually from its grain pattern and the structure of the grain, and then the craftsmanship itself. There are no gaps. The time has been taken to make this right. Lastly, this is a piece I'm working on, but I actually do have a piece over here that I just finished that involved a lot of laminating. So I want to take you over there and show you the quality that we end up with in a piece when time and care has been taken to do it right. So here I have this really tall bookshelf, you can see here, and all of these shelves are adjustable, so it's really important that I alternated the grain pattern or the growth rings on the end of each of these shelves to help keep them as flat as I can as the piece ages. But then also with this whole piece, the main thing are the shelves. So I wanted to make sure I did a really good job joining all of these boards to end up with a shelf that looks as close to one piece as possible. And so down here, this is cherry, and cherry has way more movement than that red grandis species I was just showing. So even though this shelf is actually 4 boards, you can see what I did here. I found grain from the boards that I purchased that really, it's almost like they fit together. Okay? Now these are not, I think these even came from 2 separate boards. And what I did do is just simply search and find a board where 2 of them look very similar. And so even though we have a lot of grain movement, they really play well nicely together. Taking the time to arrange the boards and sort through what you have, you end up with a piece that's not so startling when you see the grain, okay? It looks like it all fits together. So thanks for joining me today. I hope this was enlightening and displaying just some of the quality that I can offer in the furniture you might be interested in. I take a lot of pride in doing things the right way and really crafting a piece that both you and I can be proud of. So once again, happy Friday. Hope everyone has a nice weekend. We'll see you next week.